What if I told you, on this 4th of July, that the Dallas Cowboys might have a hidden ace up their sleeve? A former All-Pro, a former Defensive Player of the Year, a lockdown cornerback who once wore the star on his helmet and just might be ready to return to Dallas, if a few key pieces fall into place. This isn't just wild speculation. The information I've come across ties directly into some quiet developments over the past few months, moves that most fans may have overlooked. But when you step back and look at the bigger picture, it's clear. The Cowboys are preparing for every scenario. They're stacking the deck with insurance policies, quietly positioning themselves for a deeper postseason push. Now let's dive into it. Before we unpack the latest intel, we need to revisit some recent comments made by Stephon Gilmore, because they might be the first real clue. The details I've received come from a source with a history of accuracy inside the Cowboys' orbit. They've been on point with team decisions before they hit the media. And now, they're pointing to something big on the horizon. Let's talk about Stephon Gilmore and listen closely to what he recently said on a podcast. The question was simple. Is he planning to play this season? But the way he answered, it tells a much bigger story. When asked about his future, Gilmore didn't hesitate. "I want to play this year," he said. "But it has to be the right situation. I'm not signing just anywhere. I still love the game. I still believe I can contribute. But it has to be the right place." That's not just veteran talk. That's a calculated message. A seasoned player who knows his worth and knows exactly what kind of environment he's looking for. And when you start connecting the dots, one place starts to stand out. Dallas. Over the past few months, Gilmore has been spotted multiple times in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. One sighting, confirmed around March, right as free agency buzz was heating up, placed him at Lake Dallas High School in Corinth, Texas. That's just over 35 miles north of at&T Stadium. Coincidence? Maybe. But when a former Cowboy is in town during the most pivotal part of the NFL offseason, and he's talking about the right situation, you have to ask, is a reunion in the works? Sources say conversations have happened. It's on the radar. The idea of Gilmore returning to Dallas isn't just fantasy. It's been quietly discussed. Now let's go back a few months, around the time of the NFL draft, when Stephon Gilmore was seen at the Star in Frisco. At the time, reports tried to downplay it. "He's just picking up old gear," they said. "Just visiting friends. Nothing contract related." But come on. Let's be honest, that never really added up. Was it a friendly visit? Maybe. But when you start putting the timeline together, the possibility of something bigger starts to make a lot more sense. No, there's no official offer on the table right now. But the door isn't shut either. And here's the real reason a Gilmore reunion might still be on the table. Health. The Cowboys are watching closely. Stephon Diggs is still recovering. So is Savion Rad, often misreported as Revel. Kalen Carson has also been banged up this offseason, part of the rehab group, and at one point, even stepped away from practice. That's not nothing. And then there's Josh Butler, another young corner whose health could factor into this equation. So what are the Cowboys doing? Something very strategic. They're staying patient, keeping tabs on every corner on their roster, and making sure they have veteran options ready, just in case. That's where Gilmore fits in. He's a known quantity. If injuries pile up or rehab setbacks happen, Dallas won't have to start from scratch. They'll already have a proven, trusted defender with championship experience in their back pocket. And as for Stephon Diggs, he's been ramping things up. Footage shows him shadowing receivers in tight coverage, including a sharp rep against Elijah Moore. His movement looks smoother. His breaks are quicker. He's trending in the right direction. But the Cowboys know better than to gamble with depth in the secondary. They're not just planning for the best. They're preparing for anything. Stephon Diggs is making visible strides in his recovery. He's cutting, accelerating, and starting to shadow receivers again. That's a great sign, but the Cowboys aren't rushing to conclusions. They're waiting on full medical evaluations for the entire defensive backfield. That includes Diggs, but also Kalen Carson, Josh Butler, Savion Red, and even Marquise Bell, who's been battling lingering injuries of his own. Here's the bottom line. If even one or two of these players aren't ready for the start of the season, or close enough for comfort, Dallas may have to pull the trigger. That's where Stephon Gilmore enters the equation. Now, this isn't breaking news. Nothing's been made official, but according to someone with knowledge inside the building, there's been talk of a soft agreement between Gilmore and the Cowboys, a kind of understanding that if the situation calls for it, he could join the team later in the offseason, possibly during the heart of training camp. Why wait? It gives Gilmore flexibility. He gets time with his family before diving back into the grind. And more importantly, it gives the Cowboys time to assess their young corners before deciding if they need a veteran presence in that room. Gilmore has made it clear he's not signing just to fill a roster spot. He's not chasing rings. He's looking for the right fit. And if Dallas ends up needing him, it's a move that makes perfect sense for both sides. For Stephon Gilmore, this decision isn't just about football. It's about where he wants to live, where he wants to settle his family, and how he wants to close out a decorated NFL career. Right now, the Cowboys are treating Gilmore like a premium option on hold, like a veteran layaway deal. If certain players in the secondary aren't ready to go, if cornerback depth remains a concern, Dallas could bring Gilmore back on a one-year flyer. He'd provide experience, leadership, and instant credibility to a young defensive backfield still finding its footing. And let's be honest, this move wouldn't come out of nowhere. Gilmore was at the Star months ago, right around the time conversations were likely happening behind closed doors. While many brushed it off as a casual stop, the reality feels different now. The timing aligned perfectly with a growing need at corner and questions surrounding health at the position. The belief around the league is that Gilmore is still open to playing, but only for the right team, the right fit, the right culture. And if you know his story, there's a reason Dallas checks all those boxes. He's spent plenty of time in Texas during the offseason. He grew up a Cowboys fan. And let's face it, Dallas offers more than just football. No state income tax, national spotlight. And if Gilmore returns to this franchise, even for one more season, he'll be embraced as a respected veteran, a leader, and a Cowboy for life. Whether or not the deal happens, it's clear. The interest is real. The opportunity is sitting there. Now it's just a matter of timing. Everything seems to be pointing toward a potential Stephon Gilmore return to Dallas. The pieces are all in place. But for now, it hinges on one thing: availability in the Cowboys' secondary. Once the team gets final evaluations on players like Stephon Diggs, Kalen Carson, Savion Red, Josh Butler, and others, the picture will become clearer. If those names aren't ready, or even if just one of them hits a setback, expect Dallas to make a move. And Gilmore, he's the top name in that conversation. From all indications, this situation feels like a quiet understanding. A handshake deal. No headlines. No media blitz. Just a plan, waiting to activate if needed. Again, this isn't confirmed news. But if you start hearing reports about DBs not being ready for the season opener, don't be surprised if Gilmore is the answer. This would be more than a signing. It would be a statement. A proven veteran rejoining a franchise poised to contend. A defense gaining stability and wisdom at the perfect time. Because when it comes to being them boys, Dallas is still them boys.